Hey everybody, Pastor Zach here for spending some time with me today as we gather together and build community as we live into what it means to connect, to serve, and to be a neighbor with one another. This past Sunday, we talked about the parable of the Good Samaritan. And of course, it brings up these questions. And often I was struck this year in reading some of the commentaries about this question of how do we see this differently? Many of us who grew up going to church know this passage in Luke, and yet here it is. We hear this explanation, this understanding, and what struck me this year was this notion of how Jesus turns it, because the lawyer wants to create boundaries. Tell me who my neighbor is so I can limit, so I can draw a line, so I can say these people are my neighbor, these people are not my neighbor. And then I can care for my neighbor, and then I don't have to worry about anybody else. But Jesus turns the table on this and says, who am I a neighbor to? So it comes back on my faith and my understanding, and what does that mean to live into that? How do we care for someone else? How do we serve someone else? What does it look like for us to live into that? I got to talk with our director of youth and mission and one of our youth this morning as they were headed out to be a neighbor. They were going out as part of our mission district's small group of regional churches, local mini mission trip, which started yesterday. They're going to be making and distributing walking tacos today in the city of Reading. They are being a neighbor. We get these opportunities all the time for people that we won't know, that we don't live nearby, that we may never see again, and yet we have an opportunity to be a neighbor. Because it comes to how do we respond to the world around us? Regardless of partisanship, regardless of how they treat us, the question is, how do we treat them? We don't always have to agree. We don't have to live into anything except someone else's belief, to be kind to them, to respect them in that they're who they are, and they came to where they are with a background that we don't know. And so what does that mean for us? How do we live into this? Where do we engage one another? And Jesus reminds us in this passage that we talked about on Sunday that we are called to show compassion. And it's not hierarchical. It's not, well, you start with this group and then you move to that group and then, no. Because Jesus flips it. And the Samaritan, who was seen as the other, who was seen as the enemy, was the one who showed mercy. So if we are called to love our enemies, to care for those who persecute us, to pray for those who injure us, because it's a reflection of us. It's a reflection of our faith. It's a way for us to see the world differently and to engage differently. I found something. I'm going to see if I can pull it up quick. Maybe? Yep. It was a quote, or it was a post from a place called Mindful Christian. It says, Jesus didn't mean just love those who fit into our ideal of lovable. He meant those who are broken, those who are sacred, who are scarred, those whom no one else will touch. Jesus meant love them all. We don't get to pick and choose. There was a woman who said that, she struggles with that. And I think we all do. And my response was, I think that's the point. Because this isn't supposed to be easy. That's not the point. It allows us to see them. And while we struggle, we can trust in a God who loves us so that maybe we can love another in their struggles that we may not even know about, because we trust in a God who loves us, knowing all that we've been through, knowing all of our struggles, knowing all that is going on in our lives. And we have a God who still loves us. So I'm wondering, how does that impact you today? Who is your neighbor? No. How are you a neighbor? How are you a neighbor to someone this weekend? How are you a neighbor to someone today? How will you be a neighbor to someone for the rest of the week? We have opportunities. We have ways to connect. We have technology to reach people all the way around the world and across the street. And we have an opportunity to live into this promise and this hope, and to do it together. To, in the words of someone many of us probably watched or heard in the background, won't you be my neighbor? That is an invitation. So let us be inviting. Let us see the others that we see today and tomorrow and the rest of this week as potential neighbors, as those that we can live close to, irregardless of so much that is going on. How are we a neighbor? How are you a neighbor? Thank you all so much for spending a few minutes with me today. I'm going to encourage you today, not ask. I'm going to encourage you to share this. Share it with someone you know, share it with people you don't know, just post it, spread it wide so we can all hear this, so we can all reach and connect maybe to someone who we wouldn't expect. Hope you guys have a great day. As always, feel free to join us for worship on Sunday as we continue through the summer at 8:15 and 9:30 on site or online, and as we move forward. And if you are interested in finding ways to serve your neighbor and aren't sure how to do it, reach out. We'll find a way together. Take care, everybody. God bless. Have a great day.